Manifest.
Wrong character. Alrighty, that's what you're saying. At this point, I'm not even following stains. I'm just following arrows.
As expected, there are a load of rift hounds here too.
Hi.
Leave them to me.
Oh, you better believe I will. This tree is making life difficult.
There is no escape. Illusion shattered. Now you shall perish.
But I didn't even kill them all.
Something seems wrong with A.
Are you feeling okay?
Why would you ask that?
You looked troubled.
Well, usually you'd pull out your sword and swish! Vaporize them all in one go! No?
Well, no, she hasn't done that in the past.
You are unduly concerned. I'm simply conserving my energy.
For what?
Although I have some understanding of the situation already, it could take an unexpected turn at any time.
Precaution? I like it.
I must be prepared for anything. If there are more formidable monsters lying in wait in this area, I must make sure I have the strength to face them.
Yep, I'm okay with that.
Ah, makes sense! Spoken like a seasoned shogun. The roots seem pretty badly damaged this time. We definitely need to tell the Yashiro Commission about this. Hey,
Didn't even know he was in my Serenity pot, but okay. It's the same situation as before. Hello, blind old man.
Furuyama? Is that you?
Tea Master, Furuyama.
Mighty Shogun, what brings you back so soon? I thought you were off fighting a battle in a distant land.
Oh, right. She's in Kanriga at this time. Okay. That explains why she wasn't really here to help.
Fighting a battle in a distant land? Sounds like this guy's talking about 500 years ago, too.
Allow me to introduce Furuyama. He is a tea master and a member of my retinue. Though blind, Furuyama is unparalleled in his ability to appraise tea.
Kinda random.
He brews some of the very finest tea in all of Inazuma.
Still really random. I totally didn't stop mid-conversation to have dinner. Okay. So she used to have some old dude who used to brew tea. Why? Why is this relevant?
Your Excellency, you shower me with praise undeserved. I have simply had the good fortune to be in Your Excellency's presence long enough to become acquainted with all the skills that are required of me. It sounds like the Almighty Shogun has brought a guest. I'm afraid I'm unable to serve you any respectable refreshments on account of the current situation. But please, sit and rest.
But why is he here? Of all locations, why would he have been here?
After all, it's quite a mess out there.
What should we do?
I took that moment to drink some water. Bad timing. Let's go with Woody along with the. I want to learn more about the past, I guess.
Yeah. Sheesh. There's monsters everywhere out there. It's pitch
Again, my
black
response
and
made no
loads of
difference.
People have been injured.
I see. So, they have fought their way this far already. Most of the residents in this neighborhood have already escaped. They wanted to take me with them, but it seemed rather pointless to me. So, I decided to stay.
So this used to be a village. Okay. I mean, I know there were ruined structures here, but I didn't think any of them were like living facilities, but sure.
And now the Almighty Shogun is here, I have even less reason to run away. Imagine if this was something that even the Almighty Shogun was powerless to resolve. Where could I possibly run to then?
Wow, way to rub salt in the wound. How come you're not panicking?
People flee out of a desire to live on. And the desire to live on stems from a feeling of having unfinished business in life. But me, I have no such thoughts, and I have no regrets. The almighty Shogun often speaks to me about her dreams over tea.
That seems a bit odd.
Just listening to her stories. I've been blind for many years, but her vivid descriptions took me on a splendid journey to all the most beautiful places in Inazuma. Over time, I've come to understand her mindset. Quite the romantic at heart. A true dreamer.
Okay, I'm getting confused. I know it's been a long time since I finished the Inazuma storyline, but I'm just forgetting all the details. So, A was not the original Archon, right? Some chick called Baal was. I don't remember if they were sisters or what. I really do not remember at all. But when did the switch from Baal to A take place? Was it prior to the 500 years ago? In which case, A was the one in Kanria and is the one he's talking about with the stories and enjoying his tea. Because A has said that she recognizes him, so I assume she must have been the one having his memories, but she doesn't really come across as the kind of person he's describing. But then again, maybe she changed over time with her desire for eternity, so she's no longer quite the person he describes. I'm not sure.
One thing she always says is, good things don't last forever. Everything changes, fades, disappears completely over the passage of time. And so, people must make the most of the life they have, seize the chance to enjoy it while it lasts, and have no regrets in the end.
That doesn't sound like A at all.
So you see, as bleak as things may be now, I have experienced countless wonderful things in life, and have no reason not to be satisfied.
And I think this is now how we're tying into A's need for eternity and her future path. Referencing these past, what the hell was that? Things about how she used to be, or how the people used to be, and that will then infer her future.
Perhaps you are right.
It won't be long now before I have to say goodbye to the almighty Shogun for the last time. What a pity. I'll never get to see what Inazuma looks like after the almighty Shogun rebuilds it anew.
What happens to Inazuma people when they die? What happens to people in any of these countries when they die? Their spirits. I don't know that the game's ever explained their lore to that extent. Because I'd be curious if there's any way in the future that she can interact with those who have died in any capacity. I don't mean like this. I mean like truly interact with the dead spirits. Even if it means like she dies to do it. I wonder if that's possible. But I don't know what happens to the spirits here. Whether it reflects Japanese culture or whether it's got its own little original world.
But I suppose it doesn't matter. Everyone says that Inazuma has turned dark now. But to me, it went dark a long time ago.
Not like you can see it.
Once this catastrophe is over, life is sure to spring forth anew. But even if I survived until then, I'd probably be a hopelessly befuddled old so-and-so by then. So, never mind, eh?
It's so cheery in his last days. Good for you, sir. What is the sound effect? It sounds like either a rope being pulled taut or like electricity. But there's no electricity to be hearing.
Oh, goodness me. Speaking of befuddled, look at me rambling away to my heart's content and forgetting to serve the tea.
You don't have any tea, sir.
The almighty Shogun comes to visit and I don't have the tea ready. A truly egregious loss of decorum.
Indeed.
One moment, I'll just... Where in the world is the tea set?
Told you you didn't have any tea.
I hope the others didn't smash it to smithereens in their hasty departure.
Can't see a tea set anywhere around here.
Really? But it's always been right by my side. Goodness gracious, what a fool I'm making of myself.
We know where to find a tea. We do? Where?
I couldn't possibly have my guests fetch it themselves. That would be most discourteous indeed.
Don't worry about it. Take a rest. We'll be back right away.
Almighty Shogun, you're not going too, are you? No. Your humble servant implores you, not with the war raging outside.
This place is complicated. It's quite unlike the tea house in your memories. Leave it to us.
But, well, okay. I never thought I'd see the day that I need the almighty Shogun to personally collect my tea set for me. I can't decide whether it's a final regret or a final stroke of good fortune.
Where are we getting this tea set
Where
from?
should we go to find a tea?
You're the one who volunteered it.
Having a cup of tea isn't exactly the
We're
most
going to the
urgent-
Kamisato estate and just stealing it from them? Oh yeah, sure, that's gonna go down well. Yo, Ayaka, can we steal a tea set?
I'm also feeling very nostalgic
For its tea.
It's the Traveler. And the almighty Shogun. How might I be of assistance, Your Excellency?
We just want to steal a teapot. Or a tea set, rather.
I wish to borrow a tea set from the Yashiro Commission.
Oh, sure.
This dude is
I'll
so
fetch that for you
confused.
right away. Please step into the courtyard and have a rest, almighty Shogun. Oh, and I'll inform my lord about your visit immediately. Ah, and the tea set. I'll bring that here as soon as it's ready.
Be at ease. I'm not here to see Commissioner Kamisato. Actually, I'd prefer to spend this time chatting with the Traveler. Please, fetch the tea set at your convenience.
No. I am your humble servant. I daren't think of my own convenience when the almighty Shogun graces me with her presence. I'll deal with it right away.
Jesus, be a little less wordy and get on with it.
Well, it's not often we have the chance to chat. I'm sure you must have a lot of questions.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions about Kamaria, but the game doesn't want me to ask them, so I guess not. Was it really you that the Tea Master used to serve? Yeah, that's a question I actually want to know the answer to.
Right. Paimon wanted to ask that too. The almighty Shogun that he described didn't sound anything like you at all.
I seldom had the time to drink tea. Any free time I had was spent practicing martial arts. So, in the vast majority of cases, the one he made tea for was the former Electro
I
Archon,
thought
who
so.
was also my sister, Raiden Makoto.
I thought it had to have been the sister because her view on, like, eternity was completely different to A's.
He may well have had an inkling about there being two Raiden Shoguns, but he always acted as if he was completely unaware of it.
Well, that's because he could tell that you didn't want people to be aware of it.
The philosophy of life that he shared with us just now, that was Makoto's view on
You
reality.
don't say.
She always saw things that way.
How'd she
You
die
and
again?
Makoto had pretty different views, huh?
They're sisters, not the same person. They're allowed to have different views, Paimon. In fact, you're more likely to have different views. Do you think me and my twin sister have the same views on things? Hell no.
Indeed we did. It was the biggest difference between us. In her eyes, the most precious things in this world were dreams. The yearning for a better future held by living beings.
You know, you'd think that with her demise, A would have seen more from her perspective, since her sister can no longer do so herself, but apparently not. Dreams, in other words, ambitions.
They are similar, but not identical.
Agreed.
When you came charging into the plane of Euthymia, I saw human aspirations light up the sky far above in the form of countless stars. This somewhat shook me. Now, it seems like she was right, while I took the wayward path.
It's only taken us an entire Inazuman storyline and her first storyline into the second storyline for her to finally admit that.
Wow. There sure was a lot going on beneath the surface.
Makoto saw a bigger picture than I did. In her view, a dream is more imaginary, more abstract than an ambition. An ambition is a yearning for something material, or a concrete outcome.
Correct.
It is finite in nature, and will be replaced by a new ambition in due course. Makoto was more concerned with the force that drives humans to constantly generate new ambitions in the first place. It is something innate, rooted in instinct. In other words, it is something eternal.
That's, quite a lot to take in.
To put it simply, Makoto wasn't concerned about outcomes. I didn't understand at the time. How can we say that we are maintaining eternity when things are constantly moving forward and evolving?
Well, as you say, you didn't understand.
I suppose what it comes down to is the definition of eternity she set out with.
It seems more in line with how humans view the world, whereas yours is more within the line of an eternal being's view on the world.
Yes, it does. I always thought that she must have grasped some elusive, arcane wisdom to arrive at the conclusions she did.
I guess, depending on how you view humans and their wisdom.
But in the last analysis, Makoto's philosophy was, on the surface at least, an elegantly simple one. Notwithstanding that it was also the more prudent choice, based on a more mature, far-sighted outlook.
Do you feel you're starting to understand her better now?
You have already witnessed my previous views on eternity.
Yeah.
But now, I no longer cling to what was lost. I suppose that means our differences have been reconciled.
Almighty Shogun, I found a tea set. This one in particular should be fit for your excellency's use.
I hope we return it.
It's quite beautiful. Thank you.
You are too kind. A humble servant such as I does
See,
not
he's
deserve
getting
the
wordy
gratitude
again.
of the Almighty Shogun.
It's all good, sir. She's actually pretty chill.
Let us return. We ought not keep Furuyama waiting too long.
It's probably dissipated by the time you get back, let's face it. I don't really know the quickest way to get to him, so we'll just go from here. Blah. You know, going from there... Actually, it's not there, is it? Where is the domain? Oh, domain's further over, isn't it? Hope I didn't take damage there. Told you he'd be gone.
Hey, where'd he go? He wouldn't have gone looking for a tea set himself, would he?
I wouldn't have put it past him. Although, would he? After the Shogun herself has gone out of her way to obtain one for him, why would he then go look for one?
Or perhaps the ley lines did not have the power to sustain him for very long. As was the case with the memory we saw earlier.
So, why don't we just sit down and have some tea in honor of his memory? Well, your memory, because I don't have any memory of this guy.
So we won't get to drink his tea?
I mean, it's not like he would have consumed it anyway, Paimon. He couldn't just make tea materialize.
We didn't even have a chance to say goodbye.
Why are you getting choked up? You don't know the dude.
The information held in the ley lines is complex and disorderly. The fact that we were able to meet him to begin with was a miracle of fate.
You need to go to where the Kitsune lady was and find her memory so that you can say goodbye to her. Let's make our own tea.
Well, this chance won't come often, and we do have a tea set. Perhaps I should try my hand at making us a pot of tea.
Do you know how to make tea?
I've watched Furuyama brew tea on many occasions. I doubt I should have any major problems doing it myself.
Pretty straightforward. A brews a piping hot pot of tea with a tea set.
The tea is ready. Please give it a try.
Oh, this is quite a nice tea set. For her.
So many thoughts were racing through my head as I was brewing it. I'm not sure how to explain it.
It's just the memories flooding back.
You're right. But the things we've seen today have brought back many memories for me. I've been reminded of many people, too. Kitsune Saigu, Makoto, and all the other friends who I watched pass even further back. Back at the Yashiro Commission, I kept the conversation reasonably lighthearted. But now, I'd like to broach a heavier topic, if I may.
Okay, be my guest.
The events of 500 years ago not only robbed me of my friend, Kitsune Saigu, They also took Makoto away from me. For good.
So, did Makoto die at Conria? I do not remember how she died.
She died in that disaster too?
Yes. She went to Conria alone, without telling me. Unlike me, Makoto was no martial artist. Whenever similar crises had arisen in the past, I was always the one to face them in her stead.
Why did she go?
But this time, the circumstances were so grave that Makoto had no choice but to leave me behind. Or perhaps it was more that she went ahead of me, put herself in front of me, so that I would remain hidden. In any case, by the time I realized what was happening...
I mean, that's great and all. But if you're the sister who's not of the martial bent, going to this particular disaster is a terrible idea. You'd want the sister who has the higher chance of survival to be going to this situation. And it just screams of being a martyr to me. I despise martyrdom. So she should have just let A go.
Yes. It was too late. I arrived only in time to hear her dying breath.
But I'm glad we finally get to know how she died. Because I couldn't remember, like, have we been told before? Because I don't remember if we have. The answer is no, we hadn't. Now we've finally got the information.
She had already lapsed into unconsciousness by that point. So all I could do was enter into her mind. As far as you're concerned, it would be somewhere similar to the plane of Euthymia. It was there that we bid each other a final farewell. I cried bitterly. Even in those final moments, I couldn't understand her actions. Why did she go to Conria first, and not I? Why did she keep me in the dark about it? Was it to shield me? It was there and then that I resolved to pursue eternity. As a testament to that decision, I saved her realm of consciousness just before it collapsed completely and brought it back to Inazuma.
That's quite a story.
When I returned to Inazuma, I was shocked to find that a great sakura tree had appeared on Mount Yogo. The tree that you know as the sacred sakura.
Appeared? The sacred sakura has always been there, hasn't it?
That's exactly what everyone back then told me as well. That it had existed since time immemorial. They were so matter-of-fact about it, and couldn't at all understand what I was so surprised about.
That must be very off-putting to come back from a foreign land in mourning and to have this massive tree suddenly appear out of nowhere and everyone's like, dude, it's always been there. What's wrong with you? Are you feeling all right? And you're just like, dude, there was no tree. Are you all, suffering in a hallucination? That must have been so discombobulating. But then one has to wonder, is the tree Makoto or Baal or whatever her bloody name is the tree the spiritual embodiment of her sister?
No one questioned it. And yet, its presence contrasted so starkly with the area as I remembered it. It seemed as if I was the only one to have noticed it appear suddenly out of thin air.
Perhaps that was the point.
In the end, I simply had to accept that it was a miraculous effect of Makoto's consciousness.
Close enough.
With the help of the sacred Sakura's power, I was finally able to overcome the monsters and quell the disaster in Inazuma.
This is all really hard to understand. Kinda beyond Paimon's level.
That's because you have the intelligence of a primary schooler. Simply put, Makoto's power somehow made that tree appear. Well, that much is obvious.
Yes.
My question is, how much intention was there behind it?
She had such a
or was it
great
just a
love for this land
side consequence of her
and
death?
for its people. In this respect, I still do not compare to her.
Well, when you shut yourself off for a very, very long time, of course you're not going to learn to have a great love for its people and respect.
I once told myself that I would never speak of these events again. Facing the fact that she is gone is unbearably painful.
The fact that you are still mourning this hard about it after 500 years tells me that you should see a therapist. Instead of dealing with the pain, she shoved it down and hid away in this demi-plane. Instead of facing it all and dealing with it and Inazuma by extension. You really have not dealt with grief in the best way possible, eh?
But even the tea that is most bitter to the tongue, once swallowed, leaves some sweetness in the throat. And it's time I came to terms with it all.
Good. You know, it only took you 500 years, but we're here now. That's all that matters. It sounds like you've done a lot of thinking about this already. I know the pain of separation too. Doesn't matter. They're not going to care what option I pick.
Oh, while we're on the topic, since you experienced that battle in person...
Have you seen my brother before? Even though you don't know what he looks like. But like, picture me, but like male, if that helps you at all.
Brother? I had heard that you were looking for your family. You mean to say that he was somehow involved in the Conria disaster?
Probably a full proponent of it, if I'm going to be honest with you.
Based on what we've learned so far, it seems so, yeah.
I'm sorry. I wasn't there for the whole thing.
True that. She was only there for the
By
end.
the time I arrived, the worst of the fighting was already over.
Venti, tell me about Conria. You're the only other bloody person I know who can tell me at this point.
And also, my mind was consumed entirely with the plight of Inazuma and the fate of those closest to me. So, I am afraid I can't help you.
Oh, well, that's a shame. But it can't be helped, I guess. Boy, both of you have experienced great tragedy.
With this last cup of tea, let us honor the Tea Master's memory.
Whoa, way to change the subject there, eh?
Thank you, Destiny, for giving us the chance to meet again.
Still, go to Kitsune Saigu's forest and try and see if her memory's in the land. If they don't do this, it's such a missed opportunity.
We should go. Let's keep following the traces.
Well, we can observe the
Very
teacup.
well. Based on my investigation so far, I believe this next pack of monsters should be the last.
Observe teacup. A cup of tea has been left for Furuyama. Oh, that's so sad. How much did he actually perceive? How much did he let on? Aww. That's really quite sad.